Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Autistic Voice Project. As always, I'm Matt Lowry from Louisville.
And I'm Erin Findlay from Napa. And
And,
we are visited today
oh,
by.
yeah.
Hey, I'm
Let's not
Kade
forget to
Sharp.
introduce our guest. Sorry, Kade. Please go. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm Kade Sharp. I'm over in Richland, Washington.
Excellent.
Frequent guest of the show and actual
That's
personal
right.
friend. And
Yes.
we have asked you here on the spur of the moment because there are many things going on in the world, many of which I am a cishet white dude who is middle aged and not properly equipped to speak on any of it because my lived experience is limited at best. So while I can rail against some topics, other topics need more nuance. And we have requested and summoned you here. Thankfully, you were able to say, "Ah, yes, I'm free and able to jump on at this very moment," which is a privilege for us because
Yes.
we don't really have that ability to summon people magically. But thank you for joining us on such short notice to talk about these things.
I will point out, though, for our beloved listeners, jumping in like on an instantaneous basis for us, used about 15 or 20 minutes of like back and forth texting first. So,
Which is still pretty good.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fast.
Yeah.
That's totally fast for us. But I'm just saying, like, there was still a conversation about like how much timing, delay, padding, figuring some things out before we committed. So, in case you're wondering, that's what instant looks like for us.
That, honest to God, I'm just thrilled your schedule opened up and that you do have the freedom to come on here and tell us about this. What are we talking about? Because I'm still on why didn't they hire David Tennant at the BAFTAs again? So.
Oh, and that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if we're not talking BAFTAs, then we're definitely talking about what's going on in Kansas.
Oh, Kansas.
Those disheartening, horrible, bigoted. I mean, so for your listeners who maybe, and if people are like, what's happening in Kansas, which of course there's so much happening everywhere, you may have missed what Kansas just did. Supposedly they gave people notice, but most people in Kansas right now are saying, I did not get notice here.
I dare say you got more notice tonight than the people living in Kansas did for their licenses.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, it feels like it because overnight, essentially, anyone who is trans, non-binary, any version of non-cis who has changed their driver's license to no longer match their birth certificate has had their driver's license be considered like invalid.
So what the fuck is that? Done. How can that be legal? Who the fuck did this? Why? Tell us what you know about this, and then what is your opinion on this? Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, well, I don't know exactly who led the brigade here. I've not done a deep dive on like who's under and behind this, but conservatives all over have been cracking down on trans rights and kind of targeting us despite us being less than 1% of the US population.
Yeah.
We're not some big scary group that's, So
no, but you're different enough that they don't get it and they don't want to try to understand what the trans experience is. They just want it to go away so they can be comfortable again.
Yeah.
And it's also a very easy win because when you're less than 1% of the population, we don't have the voting power, the fighting power. Like, it's really hard for us to make movement. So it's wonderful that you all are platforming these topics because it takes allies to get it out there and say, like, hey, here's what's up, Yeah. So
1%, I can think of many, many other various populations, some of which our own president is involved in, that are much higher than the 1%, all of which have committed various levels of atrocities instead of just being a regular human being, trying to live your life, trying to operate an automobile.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of research that hints that maybe we're getting a little closer to 2%, but even then, like, what? Yeah, so there is very little that we can do on like a national scale to fight back without allies, without people who are willing to fight as well. So I did see that at least 2 trans people down in Kansas have reached out to the ACLU to say, let's sue the pants off of everyone because this is ridiculous.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we're seeing is, okay, well, if your name, like we can use me for an example. If I was living down there, I've not bothered to change the birth certificate stuff. It's so much extra work, so much extra documentation, and the back and forth in the mail, and don't lose anything important. Can I even tell you where one of my court orders is that's been notarized? No, I don't think I can. So my driver's license would just be null and void this morning. However, Erin, is your last name your husband's last name?
It is.
Is that on your birth certificate?
Nope.
However, you still have
No.
a license if you were in Kansas. You'd still be fine. How
Yeah,
is that possible?
Right, which is fundamentally problematic, right? That even though I took my husband's last name, my maiden name is Smith, right? So
Lots of them out there.
right. So like you could yeah, I don't even know what I was going to say with that, but like the fact that my maiden name isn't, or that my married name isn't on my birth certificate, because why would it be? I wasn't Erin Findley when I got born.
Yeah.
I was Erin Smith because I got, born to mom and dad Smith. Right?
And your parents presumably were not Republicans and married you off as a fetus.
Well, they actually were
Zing.
Republicans when I got born,
Oh.
when I was born. They are not anymore, but they were. They have since evolved. Let's say.
I like that. Congratulations,
What
Mr. and
I
Mrs.
know,
Smith.
right? Yes, I will pass on your congratulations to them. They will be 80 this year.
my.
So our elders are not all of them are stuck. So there's hope out there. Just have to keep leaning on them. Yes.
Yeah.
Every scrap of hope we can find. But the fact that my married name is somehow valid, while your first name, Kade, would not be.
Yeah.
Is beyond ridiculous. Offensive, is harmful, is disenfranchising, and frankly, that's the point.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the point of this act.
Yes. Obstructionist and hateful bureaucracy. Because I'm willing to bet that people in Kansas who go by AJ or Bubba or Junior, they're okay. They don't have to worry about these sort of things.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, so obviously the first thing you think of is, oh, no driver's license, I can't drive legally anywhere anymore, right? Which is a hassle, because if you've got to drive to work, you got to drive to get the groceries. If you live somewhere rural and the only city is, miles and miles away, very hard to get there without a car. But if we take that a step further, I hear that in Kansas, in some areas, they're voting in 2 weeks. If you don't have a valid license and identification card, how can you vote?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, if you don't have a valid driver's license and you get pulled over, and there's some manufactured sort of quote unquote reasonable suspicion, that could lead to an arrest.
Yeah.
And an arrest could lead to other hazards.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to know what the prison system is doing right now with gender dysphoria either. I just saw some really alarming things there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because
they're now treating it as like a conversion therapy light in prison, where gender dysphoria is considered a mental illness. So as guards and workers, you don't have to... Yeah, you don't have to respect anybody's name, pronouns. You don't have to give them any gender-affirming care, and they're seeing if that'll quote-unquote fix it, which we know it doesn't. We've seen
No, it'll make people want to kill themselves.
And
which fixes it for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're using levers that they can to put pressure on people who they've identified as unwanted.
Yeah.
in order to try to find ways to squish those people out of existence.
Yeah.
And that is fundamentally not right. And that's not the country I thought we were growing up in. It's certainly not a
Yeah.
country like if I didn't have such close family ties where I live, I'd be out of here. I'm
Yeah.
not kidding. I have a standing job offer in another country, and I think about taking it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that and this is the big that's the thing right now about what we're uncovering, because it turns out that from the beginning our country has been
Yeah.
run by, you know, people who have committed various atrocities on various peoples for lots of profit. And whereas
hmm
before it was sort of unspoken, now it's very, very spoken. And
Yeah.
I mean, even like, I don't know, between slave catchers and the Trail of Tears and Ronald Reagan's war on AIDS and sanity, which, I mean, honest to God, if we're going to go for dementia, it's a very much a repeat of the Reagan years, but it's a bit it's very, very frustrating time to live. And yeah, we do have the pull to jump to another country, but we also I it sucks that we need to unite to make sure that everyone is taken care of and everyone is safe from the people that in theory we should be trusting. Because I would rather
hmm
live in a country that has free healthcare, that doesn't patrol its citizens, that doesn't have the
Right.
drones, because we are recording this on Friday, what, the 27th?
Yes.
Uh yeah, the 2 months back to back that have a Friday the 13th. Fun fact.
Yeah,
Because
that's
this
right.
is a perfect month for
And the third
February.
one will be in November.
Yeah, but God, that yeah,
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees is hyped. So, Jason, do you have time to visit Kansas, please?
Or
Yeah.
Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I mean, honest to God, Mr. Voorhees goes to Washington. I'm all about that, but I can't say that out
Could you
loud.
call that a horror movie, though?
No, it's a feel-good romp of the summer.
Jeez.
But
Anyway,
as we talk and we're talking like, oh, it would be so nice to leave,
yeah,
I'm betting that a lot of those trans people down in Kansas don't have the resources to even leave Kansas,
yeah,
much less
Right.
the US. And if
And
anybody's
how are they
listening and they're
going to if
like,
they can't drive legally?
right,
right, or get on a
yeah.
plane, because if you don't have that enhanced
Right.
ID now, yeah.
Right.
So
Or
if
cross the
anybody's
border.
listening and wants to do something, I've seen a lot of people posting about something called Rainbow Sanctuary over in Emporia, Kansas, that they could use donations
Okay.
because they're really trying to help like organize transportation and organize things so that if your license no longer works, here's how you can get around, here's how you can still get your needs met. And then
So,
there's also the Resilience Postcard Project, which is not so much funds, it's more of like writing empowering messages and like letting them know we're here and we see this and we're not going to stand for it either. And, we're hoping you're okay, and sending off postcards or little like note cards.
we'll need to put those
Mhm.
links in the
Yeah, we'll
show
put those in the
notes.
show notes.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If anyone, I never know how many people listen to this show. Again, I'm assuming that Bob from Topeka is the only one here. But if
But
Bob
we
from
love you,
Topeka
Bob.
is trans, hey, we're with you, because
Yeah, that's right.
we need to support people who need it. We need to, if anyone from Kansas, especially any trans people from Kansas, want to come on the show, please join us, because that's the purpose of this. We really want people to come on here and talk about their lives and experiences and elevate this. And but it sounds like a terrible, I mean, it is a terrible dystopian situation, and we absolutely need some sort of strategy. We need some sort of support. We need support systems to get people to get what they need to do to survive, what they need to do to get through this, because we can't live in fear of tyranny. It's
Yeah.
Right.
it's insane. So what do these organizations do? How can they help people? How can we help them help people? What can we do about this?
My understanding for the postcard thing is that it's so simple to go in there and sign up and say, yes, I'd like to send a letter, a postcard, a whatever, a regular card, greeting card. and they will help hook you up with like, here's where you send it to and then distribute. Sometimes, I don't know which specific things they're running right now, but sometimes they'll do this for trans youth, in which you're not allowed to use the word trans and you're supposed to just do something uplifting without saying, but not for bad reason, Matt. I mean, kind of a bad reason. If their parents open the mail
Oh
first.
God.
Yeah, or see it
Right.
hanging on their wall or something. So you really try to stay away from getting too specific, but the kids and the teens know who that's from and what that means.
Good.
So
Because
yeah.
that's another thing. Because when you add being a kid on top
Yeah.
of this, especially a kid with parents who don't get it, that's even more multiply marginalized,
Yeah.
and that's even harder hit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then as far as the Rainbow Sanctuary thing in Kansas, it sounds like that's a queer-led multi-faith community, so not just a
Yes.
church, but like, well, I don't know if it's universalist, but they are looking for donations to just help fund things for trans people right now. Because the other thing is, a lot of pharmacies make you show your ID when you're picking up your controlled substance testosterone. I'm not sure
Hmm.
about estrogen and spiro and progesterone, but there are so many things now that are going to be very hard for trans people in Kansas that go beyond just driving.
So
Yeah.
so
So I'm on their
in,
website right now.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh, give me a quick second.
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm on their website right now, and they say our sanctuary was founded because we see a truth in the world that the world so often ignores. Queer people are among the most persecuted in Western society, and far too many have been hurt in the name of religion. We exist to help heal that pain. We are a place of rest, community, and sacred reclamation. We are here to say clearly, queer identities are holy in the eyes of our Creator. You do not have to believe in a particular God to belong here, or any God at all. We are multi-faith, inclusive, trauma-aware, and led by queer people. Our ministry is one of action, feeding, comforting, protecting, and celebrating our people. And they have a D&D night every third Thursday. Come on. How awesome are these people?
That is
So
awesome.
they're autistic friendly too.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are. I mean, if they're queer
Yeah,
friendly, they kind of have to be autistic friendly, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as we were talking about, like 1%, almost 2% of us are trans in the U.S. Well, globally, they say it's between 1 to 2% of us are autistic. So
Mhm.
similar percentages, just different scales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I again, because I am very clueless about any of these things and I don't know anything. So I am a middle-aged male. And if I was to go to a doctor, and because there's lots and lots of commercials on commercial on TV about retaining my virility and all. So if I
Mm.
was to go to a doctor and say, "Ah, I am feeling old, perhaps I should have the testosterone myself." If I was to, I don't know, somehow drop my testosterone into a box that was shipped to someplace else, uh, what kind of resources could wayward testosterone get to people who may not be able
Need
to
it.
get prescriptions for such things, or estrogen for ovary havers who are prescribed such things, or how do we keep track of these wayward prescription medications and make sure that they are in safe hands?
Yeah, you could definitely go to your local queer and trans Facebook groups, Discord groups, and say, oops, I lost some of my hormones.
Oh
Did anyone
my.
happen to find them? And where would you be?
Yes,
Uh,
yes. Yeah.
that could be a way to make sure you know where your hormones are at.
Exactly, because there are much more responsible people out there than me who would take better care of my vials of testosterone. So,
Yeah. And, a lot of, to phrase it nicely, trans people have always found access to things, so they're trying to stop us. If you're trans and listening, there are other ways to do it. This is not my professional hat on, because professionally I say it's quite illegal.
oh yes, of
Right.
course, yeah,
But
because we
outside
can't
of
advocate for any of this. Oh dear,
yeah, and I can't
no.
tell you how to do it, how not to do it, but I can tell you that Google exists, and DIY hormones is a search term that a lot of trans people use when their access is cut off.
Oh, that's a neat search term. I haven't heard of that before.
Yeah.
I can say also that soy is estrogenic.
Yes, but the
So
amount you would need to ingest apparently is a lot.
Is
Yeah, I
it?
did ask a
Okay.
dietitian once. I was just curious, how much would that
Yeah.
take? Because they say stay away from it if you're on testosterone.
Really?
Yeah, and like I can't have it because it has I can't have soy of any kind because of the estrogenic effects interacting with my endometriosis history.
Yeah,
So
that was part of
I don't
my
know.
curiosity too, is how much
Yeah.
would be too much to trigger that?
Mm-hmm.
I would
Yeah.
love
So
to see like some labs set up that's study and I can't say distribute because then we're into a Breaking Bad whole new remake thing going on there. But I
but
do like.
also international pharmacies are a thing.
Are they?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
do know people who will travel slightly up to Canada or slightly down to Mexico to get their
Mm-hmm.
prescriptions. Some of them have mail order pharmacies, so if you no longer have a driver's license, you might be able to mail order some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Are these also accessible on the Googles?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
definitely.
good.
It is quite spendy, so I wonder too if maybe that's where some of the funds go. If you're going to donate to certain organizations,
Yeah.
they might be helping people pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like that would be very, very helpful for those who need it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and while we're talking about bad things happening to trans people, I don't know if you both have seen, but Vanderbilt down in Tennessee is going to stop doing gender affirming surgery,
Oh God.
not just for minors, but adults as well. So that was a big spot a lot of people in the South would go because, very well known
Mm-hmm.
surgeons and a very affirming
Right.
hospital system for the most part.
I wonder if any of them are going to come to California.
Two of the surgeons have said they will continue doing surgeries, just not at those facilities because Vanderbilt has said no more.
I have a personal beef with Vanderbilt because they never paid me because they wanted me to teach AI how to diagnose
Oh,
autism. And I was like,
Mm.
no, I'm not going to do that. And they never paid me. But I'm just, their politics are questionable at best.
Mm-hmm.
sounds like it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that's going on. And then, of course, all across the nation, they are limiting minors' access to gender affirming care, whether it's puberty blockers, hormones, or surgery.
Yeah.
And I know people feel a mixed way about some of those things, but if you look at the research, overwhelmingly it's positive for young folks.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
it
and that's the
sucks,
thing
but
about puberty blockers, because if you stop the puberty blockers, then the puberty continues, correct? Because it doesn't seem like it's like, even if hypothetically speaking, someone says, "Oh yes, this decision that I've come across for the entirety of my life, uh, I don't want that anymore," then there's really no consequence to anything because then you continue doing things. I as an outsider, I don't understand what the gripe is that these people have against people being themselves. I
some
don't
people are,
understand.
yeah, they're really against hitting the pause button. There's a couple studies that show that for some youth who use them, it stunts the growth a little bit. The
Yeah,
hard part is there's not a great way to determine what would have happened if you didn't take them. So
Right.
it's,
right.
Yeah. It's not
they're,
like there's a control group there.
Yeah,
yeah, so they're
and
kind of
also
guessing.
the rich and powerful pretty much don't like puberty anyway. So I mean, I
Yeah.
don't understand what their obsession is here.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't even go there with the experiments they were doing on
Yeah,
kids with like hormones and like what are you
Yeah.
okay. All
yeah,
right. But essentially
Well,
puberty
and
blockers just yeah, it hits pause and then you if you're like, "Oh, actually I don't need this," then great, you unpause and
yeah,
maybe you're
it
a few
seems
inches
like
shorter, but I would take that over being incorrect and going through puberty and going, "Oh shoot, this was the wrong like, how much now the hormones are going to have to counteract."
yeah.
right. Like how it seems to me that giving the person who lives in the body some time and space to be certain in their identity and then allow their physical development to go in the direction that fits them.
Right.
Yeah.
That seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
So a question about all this. When it comes to gender affirming care and all this, I am a fat man and I have boobs. If I wanted to remove my boobs, would that still be legal?
Yeah. Yeah, you would just
Yeah,
go
it
into
would.
the plastic
Ah,
surgeon, and you don't even need a therapist and doctor letter. You can just go in
a
and say
therapist and doctor letter, you say? Who needs? Why does people need a therapist and a doctor letter? That seems insane.
Yeah,
well, Matt, we just have to
anyone
be
who's
really,
doing.
really sure you want to reshape your chest.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
And
that
we have
it's
to make sure
yeah.
you're mentally sound enough to reshape your chest.
Mentally sound enough, you say? Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gatekeeping is ridiculous. There's a wonderful training. I don't know, Kate, if you've taken it, by Van Ethan Levy.
Yeah.
For anybody who's listening who is a healthcare provider and who wants to be able to provide letters for the trans community, for gender affirming care, I'll bring up their website and put that in the show notes too. Um,
Yeah, early on in my private practice, I took their training because I thought I don't want to miss anything, and to hear from other people's perspective that are also not
mhm.
cis is
Yeah.
helpful. And I took it and learned a couple things. I don't use their exact template, but they have a pretty good template they give with that training too, so you can kind of leave it ready to do the appointments.
And they're super flexible about finances if you need it. Of course, if you can pay full fee, please do, because
They work so
like
hard.
many people in marginalized communities, you know, we're often underemployed and also trying to serve people who are underemployed.
Yeah.
And so money is just tight. So if you're able to pay full fee, please do. But if you aren't, you can message to get to see if you can get a reduced fee on the training and the CEs, and then you get the gatekeeping info, the key areas of assessment, 2 key pieces of information that you have to include, um, and some info about the trauma, what keeps you trauma informed when you're doing the assessing, and the template. And so it can be really great for anybody who wants to provide that kind of service if you're in a health profession.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who needs a letter, they also keep a really big list of every state in the US and who will provide that letter within one single session. And if you find somebody on there who will not do it within one single session, you email Van and they are removed from the list because, yeah, they're all about no more gatekeeping.
Good.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
but yes,
Yeah.
like Matt was asking, you do, if you want those surgeries, currently have to get, depending on what type of surgery, at least one letter from a therapist and one letter from a doctor. And then certain surgeries require even more letters. So you're meeting with all these professionals, some of whom you've never met before, and you're having to go through all of your gender journey stuff and explaining your body discomfort and dysphoria and hoping that they
Right.
will say yes, hoping that they won't make you come back for a whole, year of sessions or whatever.
Well,
It can
right.
get
I mean, like
ridiculous.
I had a client who came to me because they needed their doctor was requiring a year long um,
A year
therapist
long.
relationship, a year long, and this
But you want to,
person was totally like, they were solid in their identity. They had been for years. They were like, I think it's time to do the next step. I'm like, okay, yeah, great, awesome. Sounds to me like you're fine. So day one, I was like, okay, good. But if your doctor has this 1 year thing, I guess we can meet once a month for a year. Sure.
it's wild.
And then you can talk about whatever you want. We can sit
And
here and have tea, right? I don't,
yeah, it
I,
it just it fascinates and infuriates me how this
yeah,
bureaucratic obstacle is put into place to keep people who are number one, without financial resources, number two, without a lot of time, number three, it just seems really fucking irritating to
yeah.
have to go through so many damn hurdles. But if I wanted like hair plugs to look like, I don't know, the Wolfman, it seems like I would have fewer hurdles.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you'd need there would be money because that would be a cosmetic procedure. But other
So
than that, you'd
so
walk
what is the
in
difference between cosmetic and gender affirming care, because it seems like if you're augmenting your meat body in any way that is not one of my organs is shutting down and I need it to live, what makes it cosmetic versus specifically
Gatekeeping.
what is
Yeah.
up with this?
Because I'll tell you, Matt, if if your hairline just receded and you're like, I'm going to go get hair plugs, that's cosmetic. But if you had cancer and chemo caused your hair to fall out, I don't think they'd cover hair plugs, but I bet they would cover a hair piece or hair system for you, like a
Yeah,
toupee.
I think so. Yes,
But for
because it would
trans
be
people,
reparative.
yeah, for trans people, they don't. Yeah, that's not even an
Right.
option.
So if you have a trans woman who has a receding hairline because of testosterone poisoning, right? Then
I like that term.
Yeah.
thank you. I learned
That's
it
a good
from one
term.
of my clients. Then she would have to have surgery or either get hair plugs if possible or have surgery to bring her hairline
Mhm.
forward. And that's a huge piece of surgery. Like that is
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
that is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
No, and if we want to talk, even more gatekeeping, that 1 year of whatever, that doesn't come out of thin air. In the
Right.
past, I've got
Right.
especially trans women friends who are in their 60s and 70s who knew when they were 20 and 30, and back then you had to what they would call live as your gender for a year before they would give you a hormone. So I have a friend who, in her 30s, was working construction, told her doctor, I'm a woman and I really need estrogen. And they said, great, well, we can't give that to you until you prove it. So for a year, you're going to wear women's clothing and you're going to tell everyone your name is her name and you're going to use she, her, like you're going to do all that for a year. And if you still want it at the end of the year, we'll prescribe it for you. So she had to go to the construction site full of the type of people you would stereotypically think would be there, deal with
Yep.
that harassment, turn to substances, do all that for a year so that
Mhm.
she could get on hormones. Hellish life,
Yes.
horrible. And I don't know if she'd appreciate me saying it,
And
but also autistic and trying to deal with
Of
all
course.
this. So then you also
Yeah.
have like those social differences compared to some of your coworkers before you even have to tell them like, I'm actually a woman. I can't
Right.
even imagine.
Yeah.
And now in Kansas, it's one more, well, not just one more step. It's many more steps, more problematic, more dangerous.
It's horrible.
And I don't think this is I don't think it's going to stay isolated to Kansas either.
No.
No. A lot of places are, not so much with the driver's license, but like I said, are backing off of gender affirming care, not just for minors, but for
Yeah.
the adults as well. And they're
Mhm.
doing it like complying in advance.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
actually
and
a rule in some areas, but they've already stopped serving. Like even some of our local Planned Parenthoods have said we don't do gender affirming care anymore.
Yeah.
mhm.
Kentucky has been that, and therefore I can't say that I know anybody who has ever done a letter of affirming care or not, because I don't
Mhm.
want to break any laws or anything.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, it makes people, especially again, the overlap with the trans community and the autistic community is pretty high. So I may or may not have run into several people who are trans myself, and I want them to live long and healthy lives, and that
Mhm.
tends to
As
involve
themselves.
getting the care that they need in order to be happy and successful and live long, healthy lives. And I know that the Kentucky State Senate has done some bullshit about they believe that autistic people don't understand the concept of gender, and that trans people are quote unquote indoctrinating the autistic or the children with the ASD because
Mhm.
the
Because we're
the
so
people making
impressionable and
rules, yeah,
stupid and can't make decisions about our own bodies, I
yeah,
guess. I don't know.
yeah. Because again, I'm willing to bet that again, if I wanted firmer buttocks, I could go into any doctor and say I want some butt filler, and they would say how much, and I could get that taken care of because I'm a cishet dude with mighty buttocks.
Right.
But it pisses me off that it seems like they're just fucking bullies, that they're
Yeah.
picking on someone just because they can, because they know that a group is inclined to not, because again, this is another thing about, like, you know, violence and the ascription of violence to different groups when it's all clearly the majority of the group. I don't understand the bullying mentality of, these people are very vulnerable, these people are marginalized, let's pick on them relentlessly. What
Yes.
the fuck is that?
I know. And we do it to children.
Yes.
I mean, think about school and compliance. Like, that's a very vulnerable
Yeah.
group. They have very little autonomy, very little rights and say, and then everything's compliance based for them. You know,
Yeah.
it's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something about society just likes to beat on the people who are like just trying to make it through the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the fantasy that this country was built on. Honestly, this, you know, this country, as I'm speaking about, is the United States. I recognize and acknowledge that we have wonderful, loving, awesome listeners who are across the globe, and I don't know your worlds and I don't know your country's politics. So I'm
Yeah.
just speaking
Please,
of the United States.
if you are
here.
a listener, please don't go out and fight the Netherlands.
Yeah,
For all we
no.
know, unless you
Yeah.
actually know of something in the Netherlands that I'm ignorant to, then
Right.
let us know, because I want to
Just
be
as bad.
informed. Yeah.
Yeah. But like this country, the United States, there's this mythology that the country was founded by people who wanted more equality and people who wanted more representation, and
By the bigots that were kicked out of England because they were too strict for the church and they wanted to outlaw Christmas.
yeah.
Fuck those guys.
And the reality is that, you know, that I certainly wasn't taught in school as a, you know, upper middle class white girl. But the reality is that that is not how this
No.
country was founded. That
Not at
doesn't
all.
mean that there weren't some good ideas in the founding of this country once the government formation kind of started to happen. I think the Declaration of Independence, if you look at that as a mission statement, is not too bad, actually.
Yeah.
But the way that it was implemented was very imperfect. And
Yeah.
before that, you had the genocide of the Native Americans, and you have the slave trade, and you have like all of the things, you know, all of the religious persecution between the religious groups who came over to colonize and were like trying to, you know, wrestle for power. So we really cannot look at this country in the United States without acknowledging the reality that the power dynamics that we're seeing now have been here all along since white people came.
Yeah.
Since white people came to colonize this country, these power dynamics and these struggles have been here the whole time.
And it's really weird
And
because
yeah.
at some point there was a religion somewhere out there, I don't remember where some dude who was a carpenter said that you should wash the feet of poor people and give away all your money and treat people as, you know, your neighbor, and that you love everybody.
Well, that's some woke bullshit there,
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And he was brown.
I know.
Yeah.
What the hell?
So
Everybody
yeah.
conveniently forgets him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That, I like that guy. But yeah, the dude who has the 8-pack, the white dude with the 8-pack who, you know, ripped his way off of a cross and, you know, said, what would Jesus carry? Yeah, that it's sort of taken over.
Yeah.
Okay, so totally fun fact, not related to trans people, but is related to autistic people and also to Jesus. There is a comedian who is autistic, and I want to say he's Puerto Rican. His handle is Mr. Williams Pre-K Pause, I think.
Interesting.
And he does comedy sketches. First of all, he's freaking beautiful. He is a beautiful human being. I don't care what your sexual orientation is. This man is just beautiful. So if you want to see a beautiful man, please go take a look at him. He's beautiful. He is autistic. He's also really funny, and he does sketches. And some of the sketches that he does, he plays the role of Jesus. And I'm just gonna say, it's hilarious and awesome, and it makes me smile every time. And also, he's beautiful.
You should link one in the show notes so everybody can
I
see.
will.
What
I'll find a good one and I'll link it in.
God, speaking of autistic comedians, this is so off topic now. Traitors, either
Yeah,
of you
but
watching?
With Ron Funches.
Yeah.
I love Ron Funches. I didn't know that he didn't know. Otherwise, I would have written a letter.
Oh, I knew he didn't know because I stomached Amy Schumer's autism comedy special that was out on Netflix a while ago, and he was definitely talking about his son as the autistic one with no recognition of his own. Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh.
He made it worth watching, but yeah.
Yeah.
So neither of you have seen the Traitors thing and why he's suddenly realizing.
I know that there was an online you are representative for me, and he's like, what now?
Yeah.
So tell us about it.
Watch things. I don't watch things.
Yeah.
That's
either
fair.
animated or get the fuck out.
Yeah, and I don't want to give your listeners a bunch of spoilers, but we'll just say that Ron came to play a game and forgot that didn't realize that it's a social game. And that you've got a bond to stay in and not get voted out and not be seen as, a certain way. Also, this season, very racist. So if you do watch, you will be like, oh, does no one realize how racist they're being? And that it's just bad. Implicit bias is probably the theme of this season, but poor Ron got the brunt of it, even though he was doing and saying things that another more conventionally attractive white guy was doing and saying. Ron was the one that got targeted and treated really bad. So badly that I guess he's not allowed to say some of what was cut from the show that one of the housewives did to him.
Oh my God.
Or said to him. Yeah.
That's not okay.
No, but I guess in reviewing his experience there and the online comments, he kind of realized, oh, maybe my son and I are more similar. Maybe I ought to go get tested.
Yeah, and that's sad because that's like the actual autistic experience of I thought I was doing so well, but everyone hates me.
Yeah, and he said some line of like, they're like, well, you didn't even try to get to know us, or you don't even care about us, and he's like, well, yeah, I'm like here to play a game. I'm not here to get to know and make friends. I'm here to like win the game because it's was $200,000 on the line. Yeah. And he was the only one that would say it, but everybody was there to win the money.
Yeah.
Like social is secondary.
Right. But he wasn't there to play that part of the game.
Yeah.
And I was condemned for the same thing for, going to work, because I was there to work and do my job and bring home money instead of stand in the doorways of other people's offices and make chit chat, because I thought that was insane. But my boss told me otherwise. So.
So hard. But then if you spend too much time chit-chatting, then you're in trouble and written up. So you got to be very cautious with that balance.
Yeah.
Right. You gotta like go in, ask about the local basketball team or baseball team or football team.
There are 5 acceptable topics. Yeah.
Acknowledge that it's Tuesday, and then just be like, oh, well, same shit, different day, and then go on to your day.
Yeah, so because if you go in,
in case anybody needs a script, there you go.
If you go in and go to a coworker unsolicited and talk about butt implants or the fact that Bugs Bunny is canonically genderqueer, you're going to get write-up. That's not that I know anything about that, but yes, it will happen.
And then this is why so many of us work for ourselves.
Yeah, because we can talk about Bugs Bunny all we fucking want.
Right.
And we can collaborate with people that we enjoy collaborating with and that wouldn't mind some Bugs Bunny trivia.
Yeah,
That's right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. That's
so.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the clock because, of course, our 25 minutes are almost up. That's a joke. Yeah. It's been 45.
If you've been listening for 25 minutes, you should check your oven.
Or they could have us on like 2x speed, which is fine if that makes you happy.
Yeah.
So maybe we should start moving towards wrapping up and kind of think about what what can people do if you're someone who is trans and needs help. And we kind of touched on this a little bit before, but let's like circle back. If you're someone who is trans and needs help or needs support, what can you do? How can you find it? If you're someone who's not trans and you want to support, what are some things you can do that don't require lots of money?
Yeah. Yeah, I know we talked a little about the postcard piece. Also, if you do have money to donate or resources, say you live close to, was it Emporia, Kansas, and you can go donate, or you've got a
Mm-hmm.
local place with rainbow flags outside where you're like, I got extra food in the pantry, let me go donate. Right now, that I bet would be very helpful. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if you are trans and need support, find some community. If you don't already have other people, find some people, whether those are cis or trans people. Really, this is a time for mutual aid. We kind of joke, like, in the queer community, we're passing around the same $2. Who needs it this week? That is why
Right.
sometimes it can be helpful to have allies and people that are not passing around the same $2 that will need it again next week. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I would do some searching for where are the pockets of support, even if that's like a city away. If you reach out to PFLAG is one of the common groups, Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. They've been around for a very long time. You can
I love a
email
good
your
acronym.
yeah, and you can email your like county's branch. Most counties have one. If you're like, there's truly nothing here, go a county over, go a state over if you have to, and ask for some support. Say that you're
Mm-hmm.
affected by whatever law is trying to be passed or is passed in your area. I bet that they will find some resources for you. You also can reach out to the ACLU. There are times
Mm-hmm.
where they have many, 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 many people gathering together for one big lawsuit against someone or some organization. So if you're
Good.
feeling, yeah, if you're feeling targeted and there's a legal case there, or if you're not even sure, maybe the landlord is being really weird all of a sudden, you're like, I don't know if this is discriminatory or not, call them. Call the ACLU, email them, like get into contact and just see, because you never know
Mm-hmm.
what they might be able to support you with in that regard.
I will say also, I just did a quick Google search, and it looks like two trans men are suing Kansas
Yep,
already over the new
Good.
law. So
with the
at
ACLU.
least one lawsuit is already in motion. Also, there are two specific reps that are listed as being trans affirming in Kansas. Tobias oh, uh, Schlingensiepen,
Okay.
SCHLINGENSIEPEN, and Kirk Haskins. So those are members of the Kansas House. So those might be people to reach out to. Democratic Governor Laura Kelly vetoed the law, even though she was ultimately overridden. So you might have some luck reaching out to the governor's office. Um, and if there's you may be able to find some resources, like if you need transportation, going to local interfaith communities, even if you're not a member, to ask if they have any transportation assistance to help you get to a place that you need. If you need to get somewhere and you don't have a valid driver's license because of dumb fuckery,
Yeah.
um, that might be another way to help,
Yeah,
or
we
that
need some
might be
brave
another way
Kansas
to
people to
get you
carpool some
get
trans
what you need.
people around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Stick
And
it
then
to the
To
man
help
any way
people,
possible.
right?
the other thing that comes to mind is if you are a trans person and you've been considering surgery, especially, now might be a good time to make a move towards that,
Yes.
because we never know what the next few years hold. Hopefully, everything that's happening now will be way dialed back and not in existence, but we never know. So I would encourage you, if you've been thinking about it, you're pretty sure you're ready, start the
Mm-hmm.
process, because it does take a bit. You have to get in with the therapist, sometimes a doctor, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
two therapists with different credentials and degrees, and get on that surgeon's consultation list so that you can start that process, even if it's months out that they're booked. I would use Van's website, Van Ethan Levy's DoSomethingIdentities.org provider list. I just hit the Kansas button, and there's what it looks like over 10 people on that list. If you need therapy, that also might be where you could find a therapist for ongoing care.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yep.
And
Excellent.
of course, come to Autistic Connections on Facebook or on Discord, and we will chat with
Yes.
you, and we can continue the conversation there.
Yeah.
You are
And
welcome
we're getting
at
close
Autistic
to having our
Connections.
website up, so when our website goes up, we can also put up more resources on there.
Good. We need
Awesome.
that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for having me. You know, I always
Thank you
appreciate
for
coming. I
jumping
didn't
in
really.
last
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming immediately and saying, yes, I will volunteer to help you on this topic, because
Yeah.
we really need it. So we really appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, it's an important one. I don't think I shared at the beginning, but for folks who have not heard any other episodes that I've been in, Dr. Kade Sharp, got my PhD in clinical sexology, specifically focusing on autistic people, and there were many in my dissertation process that were also queer and trans. I've got my licensed independent clinical social worker credential here in Washington State with a telehealth endorsement for Idaho, child mental health specialist, registered play therapist supervisor, and a certified sex therapist through 2 different organizations. I love doing gender-affirming care letters, love helping people figure out if they're autistic or not. And I also co-host a podcast, so if you want to hear more from me, and hopefully we'll have Erin and Matt on someday, that's Aces Up Your Sleeve, so you can find that at neurokink.org/AUYS, and it's on most streaming platforms.
And all around awesome human. You forgot that.
Oh,
Indeed.
you.
Well, thanks for coming by, and we will see you all next time on the Autistic Voice Project. Have a good one.
Stay safe, everyone.